Yo, what up? Back again with another video, and I got a short brief message I want to deliver to you guys in motivation and just to remind you and let you know something very crucial, man. You gotta want it, okay? It's obvious, it's something we always say, but I mean, like, what is the degree that you have to want it? Like, how bad do you really have to want it, right? I thought about this the other day, and I was going to do this video just for Instagram, but I want to do this for YouTube. How bad do you want it? I mean, like, how bad do you really want to be successful? How much do you want to be the best that you can at your craft? How much do you want to get to the top? How much do you want to do the thing that you're doing? How bad do you really want it? And how much do you really love it? You know? I thought about this the other day, and I want to share it with you. And I want you to take this to mind. I believe everything that you do has to be for the sole purpose of you and your craft. Now, of course, family and other things as well. But I mean, when it comes to whatever it is that you plan to do with your life, when it comes to your work and when it comes to you, the decisions you make, and I'm talking about the little things that we might develop, the little habits that we might have in our lives. We need to be very conscious about that shit and be very aware on how that's impacting us and impacting our ability to be as successful as possible and to move forward as far as possible. I mean, dude, you gotta want it so bad to the point where like, you have to be willing to give, you gotta give up. You have to sacrifice. Like, I always knew about sacrifice, but the older I'm getting and like the more I'm venturing into this journey, the more I'm realizing how valuable sacrifice is. And it's not as drastic as you think. It's very simple, but when you realize how much you're giving up so you can put more into your craft, I mean, that's how you gotta want it, dude. You gotta be willing to give up that video game time you have at the end of the day so that you can dedicate more time to the craft. You have to be willing to give up 30 minutes of jacking off to porn so that you can conserve your seed and that you can dedicate more time to the craft. You have to be willing to separate yourself from food for a certain amount of time so it can develop your hunger and drive your productivity more so you get more done in that time. I mean, you gotta want it so bad to where you're willing to do such crazy things because that's what's gonna help you become as successful as possible, right? And even taking time to remove some of those old habits and sometimes even putting in better habits that take up a little more time, but in the long run, that's gonna be big time, right? Instead of 30 minutes of porn, how about 30 minutes of fucking reading, right? Think about this. Like, you have to be willing to give up the things that you know are shackling your life. Now, I'm not saying it's those specific things, but you know, you're accountable. You know what works for you and you know what doesn't. You know what is great for you. You know what's working for you and what's holding you back. You know that shit. And if you don't, it's time for you to start getting aware of that shit. And if you really want to start making it up the levels, you really want to start making it, you really want to start moving up, you really want to start leveling up, you want to be serious about this fucking shit, start being willing to sacrifice the things that are holding you back. Be willing to do things just for the sole purpose of making you stronger so that you can do better later. Like Mike Rashid even says, like, he'll do things not even so much for the benefit of it, but just so he can train his discipline. And that's one of his biggest fucking character traits is how mentally strong he is. And it's because he constantly exercises it. He's 40 and he's gone through shit. Like, he's gone through a lot of shit. And he still, like, consciously puts himself through shit because he knows it's going to make him a stronger and better person. That's how bad you have to fucking want it. That's how crazy and passionate you have to be about your thing. That when you tell people what you're doing throughout the day, people think like, wow, why would you, it's like, it has to be to the point where people are like, wow, like, that's fucking crazy. but your reasons are grounded. You know why you're doing it. You know why you're sacrificing this time. You know why you don't go out that much anymore. You know why you're sacrificing these things. Now, I'm not saying give your whole fucking life up. Do what you want. But recognize that if you're serious about becoming the best that you can be at this shit, and this is also something, you know that you're doing something you love when sacrificing things to do it for longer isn't that big of a problem for you. Straight up. I used to play video games a lot, like back in when I was 16 and even 17, and I haven't played a video game in God knows how long. I haven't picked up a controller in so long. Because I used to play video games at the end of my day and stuff, and eventually, slowly over time, I knew that the impact that video games had, it was fun, but it was always this dopamine rush it had to where I was constantly wanting to get on the controllers. And the more I weaned off of it, the less urge I had. So I've been fasting from video games, you know. I don't play it anymore. There's a lot of things that I used to indulge in that I don't really indulge in anymore. And I'm not saying my whole day looks like I'm just dedicating to my craft, but like pretty much anything I do at this point is in conjunction to me, my life, and my work. And when I do things like intermittent fasting, when I do things like daily reading, when I do things like daily skill training, when I do things let's say daily YouTube videos and stuff. Like when I'm doing things day in and waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning 4 days in a row. I'm still working on it. I'm telling you guys, it's coming back. It's coming back. Next thing you know, like, cause it's been on and off, but like lately I've been getting a lot better about it. But like, you see how like I'm consciously putting myself to the challenge of waking up at 5. Because I know that's my fucking hour. When I wake up at that time, shit will get fucked up that day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm already halfway through the shit that I already put on the list. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and it's because I know what works for me, and I know that I have to go through, I have to be willing to put myself through some pretty crazy shit, or be willing to do some pretty crazy things, be willing to sacrifice that pleasurable sleeping and get up in the fucking morning so that I can get more energy, so that I can be more productive, so that I can bring more to my day. That's how much you have to fucking love it. That's how much you gotta want to do it. To the point where giving up those things is actually better than keeping it. Because you know what that does for your result, your craft, in your game, in your time. So, know what comes with it. Recap, be willing to sacrifice. I'm not asking you to give up your whole life. I'm asking you to recognize if you want to get big with this, or if you want to become the best that you can at this, you're going to have to understand and recognize that certain things can stay. But if you know something isn't helping you out and it's holding you back, you got to recognize to chuck it out. And if there's something that seems a little crazy, but you feel compelled, or you know, something like as crazy as waking up at 5 in the morning, or something as crazy as intermittent fasting, right? Creating hunger, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations like that, right? Or cold showers in the morning, right? You're doing that. It might not be a comfortable thing to do, but you're doing it for the betterment of yourself, for the betterment of cultivating your energy and being able to deliver more to your craft day in and day out. It may not be a comfortable thing in the sound of what it is. Now, eventually, over time, you start to really like, I mean, I like cold showers now, but that's not my point is, be willing to put yourself through some shit and make yourself a stronger person day in and day out and develop that discipline. Be willing to do some hard shit. So that way you can bring more as a result of you growing from it. Alright? So that's my message today. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Talk to y'all next time.